Hey everybody, welcome to Spiritual Healthcare, yet another day, day 21. Hard to believe we've been doing this for 21 days, but it sure has been a blast. I love this. I hope you guys are having a really great Friday. Of course, it is Good Friday for those of you who are celebrating. I hope everybody is having an okay day, especially because, of course, this weekend, we're not going to be getting together with family. We're not going to be doing the usual Easter dinner. I know for me, usually what I end up doing is my family, which is my production crew and the people that I work with. We all get together and we play Cards Against Humanity and and hang out, and it's usually this really big thing. It's a big meal, and it's usually a lot of fun. So it's going to be weird not doing that this year, but everybody really does need to stay home. It's just so imperative right now, and doing things like this. I'm going to be doing this still all weekend. We're going to be doing our spiritual healthcare is not going to stop because of Easter, so we'll be doing this every day. We've got some really great questions and that were sent in yesterday. There was actually a whole pile of them, so we'll get to some today, and we're going to get to some questions tomorrow. Hi to everybody that's logging in. Good morning, Darren. I am really good. I hope you are doing really well too. As I say, the weekend's going to look a little bit different for everybody, but that's okay, because the sooner that we can self-isolate and stay home and whatnot, the sooner we're going to be able to beat this thing. So we can look at this weekend as an effort of celebration for just the idea that we are coming together, and we are moving forward with this as a community and a team, right? So it's really good. But as I say, we've got some really neat questions today, some really cool ones that came up regarding online communities. We're going to talk a little bit about investigation equipment as well today. And when we run into people within the online communities who are just determined to be either super negative or super confrontational, and stuff like that. Of course, we see it in the paranormal community rampantly, but I think the information applies in a much broader way than just within the paranormal community. So we're going to talk about that too. Hello again to everybody logging in. It is good to see you all. As I say, happy Friday. Hi Dawn. Hi Patricia. Hi Des. It is good to see everybody. As I say, Good Friday. On Sunday, I'm gonna wear my rabbit ears because it's it's Sunday. Yeah, that's happening. All right, so I want to get into some of the questions right away because they are really good. And the first one actually came from ghostquest.net and on Twitter, and I loved this. I loved the way this was phrased. How to stay positive in the face of negative people and situations. It feels like there's been a lot of people butting heads lately, and tensions are high within our online communities. What do you do when you're faced with that negativity or feeling blue? And the question was towards me specifically, but I'm going to share what I do with you guys so that you can hopefully take something away from it too. So what I've noticed, especially with, hi Nigel, nice to see you. What I do is specifically with a lot of the negativity that's gone on especially in our online communities. We see this in the paranormal communities pretty rampantly, where people are fighting and arguing. There's a lot of ego. Good morning, Jan. There's a lot of ego involved, and when we get into a crisis situation, especially like COVID-19, of course, the political tensions are really high. And when we get into paranormal discussion, oftentimes it becomes a fight or a debate about, sometimes it's stuff that it just literally doesn't even matter, right? Like and I'll bring up one of those subjects today. But the one thing that I really want to get across to everybody, and what's been driving me absolutely bananas, is opening my newsfeed every day and seeing everybody blaming everybody else for the things that are going on right now. And I know there's like conspiracy theories about where the virus came from, and there's like all this stuff going on, but honestly, it is just so not the time to be debating or bringing up blame or pointing fingers or anything like that, because it's driving me nuts, because this is the one time where our communities and we as as people, no matter where we are in the world, have to come together. And this debating and this arguing back and forth is causing things like, racism. It's causing, of course, the Asians and the Chinese are really putting forward the fact that they're experiencing a lot of racism and things like that. And so we just don't know, first of all, where this thing started to begin with, right? We don't know. And we can't at this point be, as I say, pointing fingers at anybody, because we just don't know where this started. And I think any sort of instigation on either side right now is just not productive. It's not helping. It's not helping people focus on their well-being. We have to focus on our health, and everything will come into place and figure, we'll figure all this stuff out later. But right now we have to be able to come together and be able to focus on lifting each other up, rather than pointing fingers and tearing each other down right now. That's not helping. So what do I do when I'm running into this? Honestly, I've just been just walking away from that kind of an argument. People want to get into that, every once in a while with me, and I just, I'm out. I'm not, I'm not it. I'm not it. And sometimes you just have to, sometimes that's the stance you really have to take, is just, when people are coming at you with, that kind of aggression, then it's just, you gotta just step out. Just step out. You don't have to engage. And I think that's part of where some of the problem is, and where I've noticed it, especially in the paranormal forums, regarding, whatever it is, traditions or, protocol or whatever, is, people immediately take this as something that is a personal attack on them. They believe that other people's beliefs are a personal attack on them, and that becomes a big problem. And we have to remember that we are centered and whole as a being just in ourselves. We don't have to convince, we don't have to engage, we don't have to fight, we don't have to argue about this kind of thing. Now, the great thing is about debating or anything like that is that you can do it in such a great way, when you're sharing information, or, you're having a disagreement. But as soon as it kind of leans into things like name calling, that temperature, that conversation starts to rise a little too much, that verbal aggression and things like that, it's just time to just check out. Just check out. That's all it is. Just say, and oftentimes a line that I'm going to use, or I use with people, is, what? It doesn't work for me. Just doesn't work. Just doesn't work for me. You don't have to justify it. You don't have to, none of that. You can literally just take a step out and say, what? It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. If somebody believes, something that you don't believe, that's okay. It's all good. The big thing is just to not be engaging in conversations that are spurring things, as I say, like racism, doing a lot of finger pointing and that kind of thing. It's just, we just don't have the information right now to turn around and understand where a lot of this has come from. There's tons of theories. There's tons and tons of theories out there right now. Just, and everybody, seems to think they have a whole bunch of evidence to back this stuff up. But the bottom line is we don't know. And the paranormal community can be kind of bad for this, because they oftentimes, you'll see in these forums, investigators and whatnot arguing for a point where the bottom line is, we just don't have the evidence to back up what a certain phenomenon actually is. So, instead of being able to get on your high horse and, be a right fighter, because there's so many people that are just right fight. They just gotta be right. We've all run into them. They just gotta be right. And sometimes you just gotta let them be right. Like just over there, just let them be right. But they'll argue for a point, and the problem is we just don't know. I run into this a lot with the paranormal stuff, because oftentimes a blanket term that gets used so frequently when it comes to especially equipment and stuff like that is the word energy. And depending on who you ask, the term energy means something very different. We could be talking about the energy that, we project based on our emotions walking into a space. We could be talking about kinetic energy. We could be talking about heat energy. We could be talking, there's so many thermodynamics and all of this. And so using that term is a really, really big deal. What does that mean? So I want to get into actually one of the next questions because about this, because we actually got talking about this a little bit last night. We got on Twitter, there was a conversation going back and forth about rempods and gear and things like that. And Shadow brought up, can you discuss the type of equipment you feel is useful and those that you feel aren't? And I totally can. And there's sort of a litmus test rule I find with a lot of this equipment. And actually, I brought out one of my EMF meters actually here. This is for electromagnetic radiation, and whatnot. So the gear that we end up using within an investigation or anything like that, really the litmus test is, what is it that you're trying to measure with it? Okay, so are you trying to measure a change in light in the atmosphere, right? Are you trying to measure change of light? Are you trying to measure the levels of electromagnetics, like for things like the EMF meter? What are you trying to do with it? Because if you don't have an answer as to what it's measuring and what the equipment is measuring, there's no point, because otherwise people are going to ask you, well, what did it do? Well, it lit up. Well, okay, well, why did it light up? Well, something was in front of it. Okay, but what is the piece of equipment measuring? If you can't answer that question, that's a problem. So this is one of my big problems with things like rempods, the things that are coming out that people seem to be producing in terms of research equipment and stuff like that. And they don't seem to, have consistent results. The consistency is extremely key. They should be doing the same thing, measuring the exact same frequencies or photons or something like that. They should be measuring all of this consistently. If you're getting weird false positives, or it's working one minute and it's not working the next minute, that's a problem. And there's a lot of gear that's being produced right now based on the entertainment world and things like that are it's for entertainment. It's not something that is scientifically consistent. So some of the things that I find that are great, really, it comes down to measuring the normal in the environment so that when an anomaly happens, you can see it. Okay, so for example, if you're measuring, say, the electromagnetics in a space, or something like that, you want to know what the baseline is. So all this gear is to understand what your baseline normal is, so that when you get a spike, when something happens, you can say, okay, I noticed, a spike of, 0.6 milligauss in this area in electromagnetics, and I can't find a reason for it, right? So you want to be able to understand what your baseline is, and that's really what gear is about. Once you can understand the normal, you can figure out where the fluctuations are. So if you can't answer, if you have a piece of equipment and you can't answer what it's measuring, then that is a big problem. So that's kind of where I draw the line with it. So if you've got things like, as I say, thermal cameras, if you're looking at things like trail cams, some people use trail cams, that kind of thing, that's awesome. The one thing also that I should probably throw into this, because I get a lot of questions about it, is ghost boxes. Ghost boxes. It's all over the TV. So here's the thing. So with EVP, or electronic voice phenomenon, those of you guys who don't know what ghost boxes are supposed to do, they're supposed to run through a bunch of radio frequencies and basically allow or connect with frequencies where you might be able to record some sort of a voice or something like that. Here's the problem. EVPs don't come in on radio frequencies. They just don't. They're in a very specific range, okay, of frequency, and that's not it. So not only do I have a problem with those, but I have a big issue with the fact that, yes, you are running through things like radio frequencies, and guess what you're probably going to get? Radio frequencies. That's a problem, right? Because if you're presenting this as evidence, how are you going to then make the argument that, wait a minute, this is paranormal versus not paranormal? Your argument is going to be really, really weak, and there's no way to get around it. So what I usually do for things like EVP or electronic voice phenomenon is I have multiple cameras set up in the room. And as I say, I just sit and we just talk. We just have fun. We chat, and we are able to monitor the conditions in the space. We know the noises that are happening, and when a noise does happen, either like we drop something or whisper or something like that, we always make note of it. So and so whispered, so and so dropped whatever, and having the cameras running, you can verify all of that. So things like that. But that is kind of the litmus test for gear is, A, what is it measuring, and B, what how is it registering or recording your normal, so that you can figure out what those fluctuations are. So that would be my answer to that. But a lot of the stuff that's coming out right now, as I say, it's really meant for entertainment, and it's not really productive. My one of my engineers, sound engineers, he was breaking down the whole REM-pod thing for a while, and it's actually very much like a musical instrument called a theremin. If you guys want to look that up, it's kind of interesting. But they're very similar to a theremin. So Darren wants to know, do you watch other paranormal shows? I do. There's a few that I'm really enjoying, actually. Probably one of my favorites right now is In Search of Monsters. I'm really enjoying that. I know quite a few of the people, the experts on that show, and they are so reliable. People like Ken Gerhardt, I can't say enough about him. He's fantastic. Nick Redfern is on there. There's some really, really great experts on In Search of Monsters that I'm thrilled with. So that one's been great. The Unexplained can be really fun. William Shatner's The Unexplained, that one can be really great. So yeah, those are on my list right now, I think, for paranormal shows. So that being said, I got a great question from Brian in our Facebook group, Entity Seekers, Ghost Enthusiasts. And he wanted me to bring up, what guided meditations do you recommend for this time period? Because he's been looking for guided meditations, and I know a lot of you guys have been as well. I was mentioning the other day, there's tons of ways that you can meditate and stuff like that. It doesn't have to be like, sitting there and turning your brain off. Sometimes it's turning your brain off through drawing. We talked about art yesterday, being able to, just put yourself in that state of non-resistance, whatever that is for you, playing with your animals, stuff like that. And so I found my favorite guided meditation, which I thought I would pass on to you guys. It's called Getting in the Vortex. And the great thing about this is it actually comes with a book and and that CD as well. So I'm sure you'll be able to download this. You can probably find it on YouTube, because God knows everything is on YouTube now. So this one particularly is by Jerry and Esther Hicks, who I've mentioned on Spiritual Healthcare before. It's really good. There's 4 different ones, and they're about 15 minutes long each. So not a huge amount of time out of your day, but it's great. And there's one that's a general meditation, one that is for regarding relationships, another for finances, and another for health. So what I love about this is that it covers so many of the things that are of value and concern specifically right now. So Getting into the Vortex by Jerry and Esther Hicks is one of my favorite guided meditations. So that's your process today as well, because as I say, you can find this I'm pretty sure you can find these on YouTube as well. So I wanted to bring that up. Try it out. Esther Hicks is the one that kind of she does all the vocals on it and stuff like that, and it's beautiful. It's really, really peaceful and powerful, because as soon as we can still our minds, as soon as we can stop that crazy noise, we start to get more connected with ourselves. We connect with what's around us, and what a massive difference it makes. And 15 minutes, it doesn't seem like a lot of time, but it just, the change is amazing. Every morning before I get out of bed, I try to find that place of stillness, try to get myself into the best feeling place that I possibly can, so I move forward in my day with the right energy. So it's a really great book, so check that out if you can. Now I've got another great reading for us, again from Birth Through Death, which is my great-great-grandfather's book, which he recorded the channelings of Louis Benjamin. So all of this, again, comes from channeled words, which I think is pretty cool. Just really neat. So check this out. Do not tell me that you have not such things in your world to contemplate. You have your libraries, your dramas, and above all, you have your friends. Your own life will be crammed with beautiful things if you regulate your attitude towards them. You are all kings, my brothers and sisters. No man yet, though he had the genius of a Shakespeare, the philosophy of a Kant, the poetry of a Goethe, and the science of a Faraday, ever used all the power he possessed, nor even estimated it. You are all inexhaustible vessels of power. Let some emergency come into your life, and then you surprise the whole community by the power that you demonstrate. It was there all the time, and the only reason you did not use it is that your attitude towards life is one of imaginary limitations. Contemplate all of the virtue you can discover in another, and you will be amazed to learn that you discover the virtue in others because it is in yourself. Love this book. Love this book. So, Birth Through Death, Ethics of the 20th Plane. It's a really fantastic group of readings and sessions. And I love that. I love the fact that right now we have this great opportunity to be able to see ourselves and to see others in a new way. And bringing it back to the question about like the negativity in online communities, being able to take a step back from a lot of that right now, because as soon as you guys kind of get sucked in, and as soon as you kind of allow that to overtake, where you're at, and you're focused on it, you go away and you're thinking about it and whatever, it really starts to ingrain itself and change your mood, change your state of being. And things like fear and negativity and things like that really have been shown over the years to wear down the immune system. It's not good for our bodies. It's not good for our minds, and it's definitely not good for each other. I know some people they purposely sort of pitch in there and they just want to start a fight, and it might be a family member. It might be somebody you actually physically know, that is just determined to make you as miserable as they are. So it's something that is that we really have to be conscious of, and just, as I say, just walk away, just disengage, let it wind and spin down. People will only fight with you if they're getting a response back, and it is really true. What we focus on, we create more of. And the damn thing is that when we focus into that kind of a battle or an argument, and we start to feel ourselves emotionally react to it, part of the problem is that we then end up setting ourselves up to attract more of those people. So that's another part of this that's a problem as well. If we're putting our energy into fighting and arguing and debating which side and this side, and just don't get into it. Focus on what we've been talking about here, and working within yourself, and keep it at that level. So I want to give you guys a great to-do today. I found this on YouTube, and I thought this was great. I will post the link to the Entity Seeker page. They have filmed the ghost tour of the Queen Mary. So for those of you guys who don't know the Queen Mary, it is a huge ship, luxury ship that is docked off of the coast of California. And I was lucky enough a number of years ago to be able to go there and visit. Someone who I know that is very close to me actually got to journey on it, which is so cool. But I really want I want you guys to be able to experience a little bit of the Queen Mary and its amazing halls and majesty, because guess what? It has been reported to be haunted for ages. And the great thing about the Queen Mary is the fact that the staff they celebrate the haunting. They love it. They love the fact there's this phenomenon that exists. And the tour guide takes you through all of the rooms and hits like all the hot spots. So you get like this personal guided tour of the Queen Mary. Like, how cool is this? So I'm going to be posting the link to that so you guys can do that today. And follow it along, and it's just, it's a blast. So I have to share that with you guys, because as I say, the Queen Mary is amazing. It's a beautiful location. Their restaurant there, which I had a really nice supper on, is incredible. They have made the best steaks, and unfortunately online we can't get the steaks, so but they're really good. So yeah, definitely check that out, and as I say, I will post the link on Entity Seeker here shortly. Now, that being said, for those of you guys who are new, the rest of the spiritual healthcare classes that we've been doing every morning at 10 a.m. Mountain Time are on YouTube now, and they are also on entityseeker.ca. Okay, so entityseeker.ca is my official site. If you go to the media and video section, there is all of the spiritual healthcare classes, and so is, as I say, on YouTube. YouTube.com/entityseeker will have all of those as well. So check that out. If you want to catch up, if you want to, like, you know, go back through some of the classes and things like that, or remind yourself of a process, anything like that, those are available to everybody. Okay, so everyone, it is Good Friday. Let's finish off with our affirmations, because we can't go into the world and we can't go into our Friday without being in that right state of being. So everybody take a breath. It is natural for my body to be well. Even if I don't know what to do in order to get better, my body does. I have trillions of cells with individual consciousness, and they know how to achieve their individual balance. When this condition began, I didn't know what I know now. I don't need to understand the cause of this illness. I only have to gently, eventually release this illness. It doesn't matter how it got started, because it's reversing its course right now. And there's no hurry about any of this. My body knows what to do. Well-being is natural to me. My inner being is intricately aware of my physical body, and my cells are asking for what they need in order to thrive, and Source is answering those requests. I am in very good hands. My only work is to relax and breathe, and I can do that easily. Everybody take a breath. Thank you guys for another wonderful morning of spiritual healthcare, day 21. Can't believe this. And of course, we're going to be right back here tomorrow morning with another session, another class, more stuff to talk about. I've got so many questions lined up here, which is great. So if I didn't get to your question today, don't freak out. There's a bunch here that I'm going to be going through. Tomorrow is going to be really interesting. We've got some more just great questions and great discussion. So tomorrow morning, we're back at it. So right here, you guys, spiritual healthcare, 10 a.m. Mountain Time every morning. Please share this. Please share this with everybody. And just so that, you know, the word can get out and people can come and join us and experience just a little bit of consistency and peace and join in on the discussion. Don't forget as well, please send your questions in. I'm keeping a list and I'm going to go through them all. So please keep sending them in. I love them. You know, even if you think your question is stupid or it doesn't relate or something like that, please just send it in, because there's been a lot of people that have thought, you know, oh, it doesn't apply, and it completely does. Yeah, please definitely send in your questions. Okay. Like, Yeah, it's awesome. Sadika, it's so good to see you, girl. Okay, everybody, Sadika and I, we went to literally all through junior high and high school together. Like, yeah, so it's so good. I hope you are so well also. And everybody, thank you again so much. Have a great Good Friday. And I will see you all tomorrow. Bye, guys.